go.
I took
Oh,
so
that's
much
all right,
time.
John. No problem.
No,
We
that's
love to
quite all right.
kvetch.
Thank you for the information on the Freiburg also.
Not a problem. You're welcome. I'm very curious to see what you decide to do, and if you get it, like I said, we'll have to have you show and tell it in a future meeting.
Oh, I will.
Sure it's not Freiburg, Maine, John. They
Yeah.
have that big fair up there.
I don't know.
No,
if it is,
it's not an F-R-E-Y.
I'm only kidding you.
B-E-R-G.
I'm only funning you.
It's not that Freiburg.
They just had the fair up there this year. They rescheduled after the pandemic. They started again. Big deal.
Yeah.
If you're from Maine. Anyway, so John, any business we have to take care of, Mr. Gibbons, prior to launching into our preview of review? I guess preview is I'm in the wrong tense. What else is new?
the only thing probably worth announcing is two things. One of which is obviously the November 21st show,
That's correct.
NEVEC number 4 on 21st is Sunday. That's going to be our Super Bowl of shows throughout the year. So don't forget, mark your calendar, be there, be square.
I would certainly hope this group doesn't need to be reminded too strongly about that.
I would think not. And of course, right following is our March show. So we'll have NEVEC 4 followed by 5 in March. So we're going to have two big shows in a row. But we're all looking forward to it. And looking forward to there's some very good looking silent auctions that will be run. So lots of good things coming our way for that show. Otherwise, and then of course the next Zoom meeting is planned for the 18th, and we're supposed to have Al Claza with the NJARC, who's going to give a presentation on crystal sets. And we'll be coordinating with with Rich to have a joint meeting. So we'll have some members from the NJRC with us as well. So it'll be a nice way to have our friends from the South joining us.
Down south.
Down south, you Southerners. That'll be
Gentlemen
great.
from the South.
And we also invited Bob Bennett here because he was kind enough for the last meeting to give us a walkthrough of Kutztown, and so he gets to see what's going on up in our world. So again, a little nice to have some cross-pollination with our clubs. Other than that,
appreciate that, John. Get a chance to see all the goodies that you guys had.
Yeah, no, it's great. Sorry about that. Let me see if I can put this off.
So John, not to digress here, but I'm gonna send you an email that I got from a guy, in my continuing mission here to, try to partner with different somewhat like-minded organizations in the country. So there's a New England Music Museum Online. It's MMONE. And anyway, so there's a lot of radio organizations who have partnerships with music-oriented groups or entertainment-oriented groups. So I sent this guy sort of what I thought was a very nice little email saying, would you like to swap links and maybe we could publicize some of your events if you have them. Well, the response I got, while somewhat cordial, I was kind of taken aback by. So before I respond, especially on behalf of the club, I would just want somebody else to look at it because I'm very tempted to find a nice way to tell him to go stuff his response up his nose, but that's another story for another day.
Yeah, no,
I do that diplomatically and make him feel like he had a nice day after I did it. So that's the knack.
I'm confident you'll have done that.
All right, so we're ready to roll with some photographs of goodies.
Yeah, so what I'm going to pick up where we left off, which we roll back the tape. We were looking at some of the photos from the auction items because that was a shorter number of photos. And I wanted to pick that up where we left off before we go back to Fall Brookline, which was actually, in time-wise, preceded the auction. But what I thought I'd do is, it's too bad he's not on the call because I'm going to go back and show a couple of radios that were auctioned and won by our Jim Ligouri, and he sent me pictures of the cleanup that he and Jeanette did. So I'm going to just show you before and after. I'm going to share my screen. So that's the first thing I will do. right? Huh. Sorry about that. Hold on a second here. I'm just trying to get this to cooperate here. Okay, here we go. All right, folks. Can you guys see this? Okay.
Eureka. There you go, Mr. Spivey. We'll
There
start
you
off with an Arvin.
Yeah, the reason I thought I
There you
showed
go,
this,
Lloyd.
there's a nice little Arvin. Now you probably know the model number, or someone else probably does for sure. But I wanted to show. I showed this at the last meeting, but I wanted to do is now going to unshare this and share the after photo. So bear with me a moment while I see. Oh, that's not it. Bear with me a moment here. There we go. I'm going to bounce around a little bit here. All right. I'm going to reshare. There
Nice
you go.
job.
What a nice little.
Wow.
Very nice.
I love that backlit, that front lit dial.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
the
And
bulb
see
is
the
clearly here.
yes. And the cool thing on that is, you often run into problems that those dials are not in the shape that one was to start with. And that's why it looks so neat. They did a nice job, huh?
Isn't that reminds me, I mentioned at the last meeting, the GE 408s and 409s used a front lit display that used the hemisphere dial. It was an AM FM radio. And I love these front
Yes.
lit. It just really has
Yes.
a nice spark. And they usually use a pretty bright bulb. So you've got a lot of, see the dial very well. Here's another photo of it with it off. Nice job to Sparks. Too bad it's on to get the accolades. We did a nice job as is. And I guess it's done the electronics already. So this is this auction radio is presumably back in service. So I'm gonna go
Of
back.
course, those little stars just look like they're floating in the sky.
Yeah, I
Drop
know.
in
Isn't it what a dandy little radio? Really like what he did. I got to bounce back. So sorry about that, folks. But I have to just, fortunately, sharing is always kind of a. All right. Here we go. Great. I'm going to show you another one he did. Here's
Spartan,
the
yes,
Spartan.
I saw that in
he
the
got.
preview. Yep.
Yeah, so we showed that last week. So I'm gonna again. I have to stop sharing, bounce back to the other file. All right, so here's the Harvey. I'm flipping folders, but I'm doing basically. And here is the Spartan that he cleaned up. What a nice
Nice.
job. That's a nice radio. And what remarkably nice shape. And look at the grill cloth and all, just really wonderful shape. He got a nice radio price. But so at any rate, those were the two that Jim had won, and he sent me photos. So I'm going to pick up where we left off now on. I'm just going to bounce these quickly. Right, here we go. I'm just going to quickly just go back to where we left off. So I'm just, because I remember what photo number we left off at. So I'm just going to go fly up the. There we go. This is where we left off, folks, from last meeting. So picking off where we left off, this is now, name that radio, you guys in the audience. This is obviously a Hallicrafters. And even says the model, SX 199. Does that look right?
It's an SX 100, I think.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's a 100. Okay. Thank you, Bob. And here's another nice zenith. This might have been a repeated photo, but this was a tempting one for me as well. In pretty restorable shape there. I mean, obviously needed probably some fixing here, but
Knobs look a little rocky, but the case is in nice, good shape,
yeah,
relatively.
certainly restorable.
That
Still
was
sports the
probably
original
one of the more,
decal.
that was one of the more rare zeniths, and then on top of it, that one I could see has got the short wave on it. So that's a super rare radio right there in that cabinet.
God, who won?
Yeah, you can make out the dual band through the
Yeah,
foggy plastic there. Huh?
yeah. Nice radio.
I had one, and it's suffering the same shrunken dial glass, which is very difficult to have reproduced.
Yeah, I suppose it would be, especially with the compounded, facing. That's not just a flat pane.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Nice, reasonable shaped zenith here.
Anything with those nice Z pointers is always pretty cool in my book.
Yeah, I agree. I always like that touch. Going back to, oops. Yeah, that's a nice touch. Always like that. But yeah, again, one pretty restorable unit. This here, is this another? Is this an 8? Is this a AK?
AK.
Yes, I thought. Television, Crosby. TV lovers. Generally in pretty good shape, actually, overall. This one I don't think actually sold from my recollection, but I can't swear to it. Philco. Another one in pretty restorable shape there. Certainly not a
Faux
bad
finish isn't too badly dinged up, huh?
No. Certainly could probably do okay with a sympathetic restoration. Lots of these Motorola transistor sets. I think Jib's had just about every color there in the grouping.
So these
Lots.
are all from the Charlie group, John, correct?
Yes, yeah, I'm wrapping up the.
I wonder how long he was collecting. I mean, because obviously he lived kind of during the heyday of radio. I mean, he just had an awful lot of stuff.
Oh yes, and judging from what I've heard, he still has plenty more.
Oh my goodness.
There's an Arvin transistor laying in the
Yep,
top
right
of
on the
that
top
pile.
of the pile. Yeah.
And that's actually the nicer one. That first of all, that case is all metal. It weighs about 2 pounds.
Huh.
And that's the 8 transistor version, and that's got a tuned RF stage on it. So that's a nice radio to fix up and keep around.
Who got those? That wasn't you, Henry. Did you win those?
Nope.
Transistor.
I don't remember who won them, but we bid on them.
So that was done as a box, right? So
Yes.
you get the box. Okay.
Mm-hmm. A nice lot, though.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Mm.
And some of those some of the cases look surprisingly. I mean, usually, you're lucky if you get a few tatters left on some of the leather cases you see. Some of those look pretty good.
They had some of the Zenith 500 series radios in there. If you dug a little bit.
Probably underneath, yeah.
Yep.
I think I see what you mean, yeah.
I can see an Emerson Explorer in there.
Mm-hmm.
Bob, you can't come anymore because you make me feel like Mr. Magoo. How you spot these things.
Yeah, I'm kind of bad that way. The
Time for an eye
unfortunate thing is
doctor. Time for another visit for me, I think, at the ophthalmologist.
that could also get me into plenty of trouble, though. I am coming home with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's always the case, right? Good stuff, though.
Absolutely.
Another TV. That one also, I think, it's Admiral. I don't think sold there. I'm doing this from memory, but still a neat TV. And
I mean, look at the size of that Bakelite case. I mean, there's the Admiral, and then I don't know if it's a Bendix, but there's another. I haven't seen him in our meets in a while. There's another fellow in our group, and he has it in his home, and it plays. And I'm not sure if it's the Admiral or Bendix. He claimed to me it was the largest single piece Bakelite case of any item produced.
You're right. That TV is the largest Bakelite
That's it.
ever produced. I have that and the tabletop version of that.
Oh, the tiny tabletop. What's that about?
No, the one it's a vertical. It's not the horizontal one.
Oh,
It's
I
a
see.
vertical version of that. Basically, without the bottom speaker grill area.
I get you.
okay, still high waist 300 pounds.
Mm. It's a nice, beautiful TV when polished.
Oh, his is restored and it plays. So we watched a little bit of. I think Hazel was on when we were over there that day.
Yeah, there you go.
Or
Can
Yeah,
you get Duluth on that?
Here's an
Oh, there
audio.
it is.
I thought I got a closer shot. I guess I also was intrigued by it. I said, worth a closer shot.
So that's the nicer, they made two flavors of that radio. They have a 7 and an 8 and they look identical. But that's the one you want right there.
Good to know for future reference.
Can I jump in at this point?
Of course.
Oh, very good, very good. I don't want to stop the presentation. I've got a ton of transistor radios for those that collect, and I know there's at least 2 of you. Come on down and see my collection. I specialize in what they call transition radios, where they're going into the very first transistors that were offered to the general public. Secondly, while I'm here, I noticed the televisions. I have a TU8. No, I'm sorry, a TS830 that's up for grabs if anybody wants them. It's a 1945, and I started cleaning it up. So it's been professionally taken apart, and the cleaning has been started. It's free, boys. Thank you very much.
Is it a 630 or an 830? You said.
I'm sorry, it is the TS830 is what it is. So that makes it a 1945, although they made them for a few years. And obviously, as I said in RCA, everything is there. And from what I understand, it was taken out of service just because it got old. There's a little bit of charring inside the yoke, but the yoke is still functional. And I actually started replacing tubes. And you get the free tubes come with it. So I just don't have time.
Come on down.
I just don't have time. And I'm only 70. Good Lord, I know some of you guys are not twice my age, but 10 years older.
Gee, thanks.
Hey,
Hey, you know what? Why don't you post it in the IO group? Post it in the IO group and see who gets in touch with you.
Yeah.
You might get a few more people than you do here.
Yeah.
Well, so anyway,
A
just
few 125-year-olds might want to.
Yeah. I meant to say decade, I think is what I meant to say.
No,
But,
it's all good. It's all good show. We love it.
Yeah. And this is all about putting a collectible back into the mainstream. So as it was mentioned earlier,
Well, thank you. For
carry
mentioning
on,
that.
folks. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Mark. All right. There we go. More boat anchors for you.
That's 53, and I don't see what the number is on the other one there.
S38, I think.
No, it's the same.
Oh, they're both seven. Oh, okay.
That's 53A, and yeah.
Okay, that's 53 and 53A. That's right. The A was a little bit different. Okay.
One
Like
came
the
with a cracked
53A
dial glass.
took a punch in the face.
Yeah,
Someone was listening to the ball game and their team lost, and a guy lost a couple $100 on the game.
yeah.
Right into the dial there.
Or somebody had a bar fight and got his head pushed into that one.
Yeah,
Yeah, that one might need a little work.
that's too bad. That could be fixed.
Yeah. There's a national.
Yep.
Nice.
Pretty reasonable shape.
It looks pretty good.
Yeah, another national.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
a 190.
Neat looking radio. I mean, it needs a little bit of, this is all fixable stuff, just needs to be reshot ultimately, but
I'm fortunate enough to have that radio and the speaker for it too. What's interesting also, John, with that radio, it has a kickstand on the bottom that folds forward. But
really
it's a full metal kickstand.
interesting.
So you could put it at a better eye angle.
Yeah,
Yeah, correct.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
it's pretty cool. Okay, this is a GE. Is this a, yeah,
Yes,
it kind of was.
I like those.
Yeah, it's a neat one. This one with the, you know, I like these controls. Almost look like a car dashboard almost. You have all these
They
little.
look very cool illuminated at night.
Oh,
And
I
they're
like
pretty
that.
decent sets.
And
No,
a
I
tuning
can't-
eye.
I can't tell you the model, but
The 39 something. I own one too. It's beautiful radio.
And this one's
that was a popular look, 38, 39. I have an
Yeah.
RCA that.
It's
that-
the ultimate
that slopes a
deco
similar
with the
way.
waterfall
Yeah.
surrounds.
Oh yeah, absolutely, no question. And this one is in pretty nice shape. I mean, everything is there.
It's
And
got the knobs. The push buttons even look pretty good. you
yeah,
know?
yeah. and Like you
And
said,
my model doesn't have the push buttons.
I could live without the push buttons and still enjoy that.
Me too.
They usually just mean trouble anyway. They don't-
Yes.
Yeah,
Nothing
know.
but.
I know that's the true with, especially with almost any of these radios, including especially when we're talking about the German radios. The more bells and whistles you have, the more massive complexity to deal with.
Well, the problem with the buttons is too, when they're pretty pristine, then there's either one that's missing or one just, there's one tooth that's
Yeah.
bad, and you just, you'd be better off without them,
Yeah,
aesthetically at least.
sweet radio though.
So could I just ask, Rich, if you're familiar with that, could you go back to that for a second?
Oh, sure.
there, John?
You bet.
So on the left and right side, what are those indicators? I mean, I know we have the frequencies in the middle on the three
Yeah, look
horizontal.
closer. There we
you go.
There
Oh, and
you
there is a little crack in the escutcheon. Well, oh well.
Yeah. Well, it's
Oh,
shrunken.
is it
Yeah.
Is it a tone control? High,
Yeah,
medium, low?
Yes,
Okay,
it
I
is.
get it.
Yeah. Mine, fortunately, I
band
guess
switch.
with this model being probably more exotic and expensive, they made the escutcheon out of tenite, which now is shrunken. Mine
Yes.
is metal, so it didn't shrink.
Couldn't shrink. Oh, and you know what though? If you look on the lower left box there, it has the brilliant mellow.
Yes.
Imagine that brilliant. What's
Brilliant?
brilliant mellow? I've been trying to be that most of my life and failing miserably.
Of course, there's mellow yellow, but that's a different story. But,
That's
yeah,
when we break out the Donovan albums. That's right.
Yeah, there you go. But it looks like you got four essentially. You got brilliant, bass, mellow, and speech.
Just more than you need, and that's why it's $29 more than the other one that Rich has was.
Yeah, I love this. Is just like right out of just like the style of a late 30s car dashboard. Little gauges they would have.
Even on the dial, it's got on that wheel on the right. It says micro log.
Yeah,
I guess that might be for fine tuning or something like that.
I
It might
guess
be
it
just something like, like some of the radios, like Zenith had the split second dial on them.
Yeah.
It's band spread,
Oh, is that what that is?
don't you
Okay,
think?
maybe.
I thought it was tone control on the left.
On the
the
right.
left. Yeah, he's talking
I'm
about the
talking
right
about the
here.
dial on the
Volume
right.
is on the left.
It
Oh,
says
okay.
micro log on the right there where the crack is in
Yeah.
the
I know
tenite.
people can see my mouse pointer, but
Hmm.
yeah. Neat radio.
Enough said, John.
Certainly feature rich. You think you got your money's worth out of this one? Great radio.
That era of radio with that dial, I also have another GE of that era from 38, 39, and the dial is very, very similar, if not the same. And I really love them.
Yeah, they even had a console with dial like that.
Yeah.
That was the look for a couple of years. That was their thing.
Yeah.
I think
Good
what we need
hook.
to do is we need to put together a book of radio dial faces lit up at night.
Oh,
Mhm.
If no one's done that before,
Well,
something like this would look good. I'm quite sure.
Well, I can pull of I believe, and Mr. Van Beek is on, so he can corroborate this. There is a Philco. I don't know, is it a Philco section or is like one in the other radios section and one in the Philco? There is specifically a unit in the site, type of a thing, and you can literally scroll through,
Mhm.
you know, what everybody wants to share with you, and it's pretty cool. It's nice, you know, because it's all in the same vein.
I think I started
I-
that thread about, oh God, quite a few years ago already.
Philco dials gather all aglow, something along those
Yeah.
lines.
That'd be nice.
And then I think
can
there's
imagine.
another radio. There's another radio one, and you know, just alone, even if you never cared about radios, it's pretty nice to look at. You know, pretty
Yeah.
remarkable art in some of them. Some of them more pedestrian.
Mhm.
No, that's all part of the experience.
Speaking of pedestrian, next radio.
There we go. Now this one might need some help. I'm not sure
What
what
is
this
it?
is.
Well, okay, so I can tell you a little bit about this one. This thing seems to show up with a lot of brands. Lafayette. I have it as a Wells Gardner. It has kind of a weird tube lineup too. It has like 3 of the same tubes, and it was the entry level model, but they have sort of that stepped look on the top of the case. And if you look in like some of the Stein books, you'll see it with you might see different manufacturers, but it is the exact same case. I have a feeling that Wells Gardner may have made it for a lot of people to slap their label on it. Nothing spectacular, but underneath that fuzzy, musty dial cover it's kind of a neat little gold foil dial. You know, they're not particularly sensitive. You need a long wire antenna, but again, that was probably a $10 set. And when you were out of work in the 30s, and you wanted to listen to some locals, that was not a bad set to be able to put your hands on. They do run a little hot. They have kind of a funky chassis. The chassis is metal, but it is not encased around the sides, so it kind of like breathes a little bit. You can actually look under there and see the resistors and the caps and stuff. So they're not bad little sets. They were for what they were. It was radio for the masses.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You got $10, we got you a radio.
There you go. All right. Well, this looks like it's fixable.
I tell you, you clean that case up nice, and
Right.
they are it's a pretty nice radio to look at. Looks better than it sounds, but sometimes that's the case.
That's all that matters sometimes.
Shelf queen.
Yeah.
Silvertone.
Yeah. The thing that's missing is missing a knob, but otherwise looks mostly complete. Pretty good shape too overall.
Sort of a 50s look with that little design on either side of the clock, huh?
Oh yeah, absolutely. This
Kind of looks like almost like a say like an Arvin or a Crossley, with that pseudo, the shape of the case and the knob positions.
it's got that Crosley dashboard look to it. You're right.
Yeah.
Well, just remember, Silvertone didn't make it, so it could have been made by Cross.
That's right. Much like Radio Shack, Silvertone only made money, right? Sears only made money. Make a damn radio.
Another a TV and a clock. Now,
Well, you got to know what time your favorite show's on. This is a GE, I think.
yeah, GE. Yeah, I thought it was GE.
Did that sell at the auction? Do you know?
Ah, boy, I don't remember. I could be wrong, but I didn't think the TVs didn't move a lot. But I'm doing some memory. You know what? Bruce put together ultimately a spreadsheet of all the things that were.
Yes, the prices and the final sales. Yes.
Yeah. So I assume they
You did send that out to the group, so you could probably find that email.
Yeah, that's a rare TV with a clock on it. You don't see that often.
Is it part of it, or I just thought it was
Yeah,
a clock
it
that
is
happened
part,
to
it is part of it.
Yeah,
Interesting.
looks all complete too. I mean, all the switch, all the knobs are there, and you
I mean,
know,
the colors match. I mean, that you
yeah.
know, probably is not coincidence. I just
I-
thought somebody left a clock on top.
I wonder if that clock on top will turn the TV off.
It on and off, I believe. It's like a clock radio.
Yeah.
Except instead of turning a radio on, it has like a sleep function.
Right.
Oh, it is missing a knob after all. There's with the delay. This delay.
Yeah.
So I assume that's probably, like you said, Noah, it probably turns.
Yeah, auto manual. Yep.
Yeah.
They
So you
probably
could
made the
you could
clock
set
in
it you
Ashland.
could set it for a full 60 minutes and fall asleep watching the television. It would turn itself off. And then if you had the alarm set, it would turn itself back on in the morning.
You could fall asleep watching the Joe Franklin show.
Exactly.
Yeah, there
Or
you
maybe
go.
the $1 Million movie, or no, what was it called? The 12 o'clock movie, maybe, with that Maxwell House coffee music.
It is a heavenly coffee.
Wasn't that chock full of nuts was the heavenly coffee?
Oh, you're right. I got my jingles wrong.
Yeah.
Thank you,
That's right.
Bob.
Maxwell House was good to the last drop.
Thank you. That's
Actually,
it.
chock full of nuts is Brooklyn,
Oh,
I
is it?
think. It's a New York company.
The right.
That's a nice big Philco.
That is.
Is that a 48?
It's 48 something. I forget the rest of the number.
482?
It's not ringing a bell.
Case is nice. Push buttons are pretty good. Original knobs.
AM, FM, and a shortwave band.
Yeah, those are good performers.
I think that's got a 6v6 in there too. So that's got some rocking sound to it.
Dial cloth, the grill cloth looks original and not in too bad a shape. A little cleanup.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of these, John, just look like a little, a good cleanup and maybe a little Howard's, and you could probably make, a lot of these pretty presentable. That's the interesting thing with some of his stuff. I mean, there's not, sometimes you go to these auctions and you just see stuff that looks like it was at the bottom of the pile and a roof that leaked type garage. I mean, there's a lot of dregs that go with a few finds. Most of this stuff is all pretty good raw material for somebody to work with.
Oh, no
Or as
question.
Tony Soprano would say, it just fell off the truck.
Yeah. Exactly.
It
Yeah.
really did.
Exactly. No, I mean, none of
Instead of looking
not
like it got run over by a truck.
yeah. Some of it. No, not
Those are the
Charlie's
ones
stuff.
I get. That's what I get.
Yeah. Yeah. The delivery guy. Yeah. That's when I send Sony.
I don't even want to talk about him. Bad
Yeah.
feelings.
Nice RCA. Pretty reasonable shape.
Unusual
That
to
was
see
really
it.
One
really
little
nice
flea bite
condition.
there. I mean, I almost say that's a repaint, but there's just one little flea bite. A couple I see on the
Yeah,
screen
it's
is
unusual to
dirty,
see
too.
that, John. You're right. And Paul, yeah.
and the color is still. Sometimes they kind of have that tendency to yellow.
And another one. I figured I'd just bang out to the next one because they were like
Natural
twins there.
Bakelite.
Those are sharp when they clean up. Those are nice looking little sets. They play pretty good.
Well, I mean, Jim Ligouri is certainly can testify to that. You saw what he did with that Arvin. Some nice. Spent some time with some Novus and some other cleaners, and get yourself a nice unit because it's otherwise complete after you've done the electronics.
You give that a cleaning, and what does nice. What does a nice job to polish it up is McGuire's paste wax.
Oh, right. I've
For
heard that.
auto, yes, and it buffs up nice, and it stays nice, and you just wipe it with a soft cloth later, and it still usually looks pretty good.
Yeah. Nice pairing ahead. Oh, there was just some of the guys hanging. I took some photos of those people getting anteed up for the ready to rock and roll with the auction. So it was just people ready to go.
It looked like they're waiting for a meal.
Yeah.
They're waiting for a meal that ain't coming.
Yeah,
It looks like it's bingo day at the senior center.
B3.
There's a brand new computer there on the left.
Yes, that's right. Just
Give us
out of Radio Shack.
Oh, look at that. That young man got a raise. Isn't that great?
our auctioneer. There we go.
So he's our auctioneer, but he's also the fellow, the family that owns the center, the hall that we're fortunate enough to be able to rent. So the dad and one of the kids are licensed auctioneers, and they're very accommodating with us. And they have a big, you get outside the hall and it's, pretty New Hampshire. It's kind of a gravelly lot and a big old red barn, but there's plenty of parking, so that's where we tailgate. And then we also, have vendors who want to be inside. So it's a good setup, and they've been very decent with us.
Oh, yeah, sure. That was good.
That's great that that stuff's still around. We used to have that in New Jersey back in the 60s. Now you got Starbucks.
Yeah, that's right.
know?
They just bulldoze it down and slap up strip.
I mean, unless you go really, really, really far North Jersey or really, really far south.
Yeah,
Everything else in between is a parking lot.
yeah,
It's paved.
you are right. This is pretty much, we had a good, when you look at it overall, we had a fairly good turnout. It was probably good, 20 or 30 people there.
That looks like a really nice big hall.
It is.
All right. That's great that you guys could get access to something nice like that.
Well, there's also a kitchen there too, and so they're cooking. You can get breakfast sandwiches and cakes and
Oh.
pies and things like coffee and other drinks.
Yeah.
So
We're envious, believe me, we're envious.
Rich can tell you how tough it is to find stuff like that around here.
Yeah.
Well, then you go out and you look at the California Society Radio by the Bay at the
Yeah.
USS Hornet, and you say, well, how do those guys do that?
Yeah, they're the opposite,
Anyway,
opposite
everything's
extreme.
relative. They are just unreal.
Yeah.
Worth the trip.
Okay. Now these were the two photos for the two big
Heathkit?
two highest bidded sold units. I think this is $150 he's pairing, I think. These Heath kits.
It's a twofer. Wow.
I think they were 150 if I do this correctly.
That's very reasonable number for those Heath kits.
And
Those Heath kits, the SB303, they were the first all solid state receivers made by Heathkit for hams, ham only. The SB301 was a tube one. The 303 was solid state because I built that.
Yeah, this was our highest selling of all the things that got auctioned. Because a lot of the stuff probably auctioned in that 30.
Interesting, with all that stuff that we looked at that, just don't know.
This one and the next one here, these Sony
Viewmatic.
that sold.
Oh, Bruce bought those, correct?
Yeah, I thought there was like 110, 120 or something like that. They only had a couple of things that cleared $100, and it was these two items, and everything else was, And
Well, the goal was twofold. One was to, move this along to some people who could use them, reduce Charlie's inventory, and make Charlie a few bucks. So Charlie Perquette was one of our past presidents, and I think he took over from, was it Marty Boonis? Anyway, he was there for a long time, and he did not get a ton of volunteer support, which we're always working on getting more volunteers. So he's really responsible for kind of keeping things rolling at NEARC for many years, and so it was nice that he could make a few bucks and move some inventory and hopefully free up a little space at his house. And from what it sounds like, this may not be the last auction either.
no, you never know. Wouldn't surprise if we have another one. So, and I'm sure, and I know he's got plenty more goodies. So I'll stop this one, and now I'll go and share the photos from the actual show itself that preceded the auction. I'll do this. Oh, let me just get the. There we go. There we go. Let me just bring up the window. Here we go. Let me share. All
Yeah,
right.
where John has some pictures, I'm sure, of the tailgating area. This will give Bob and Rich a little bit of an idea as to our outdoor setup. And, you know, the entrance to the hall, you can see through the tent there on the left. We have our
Yeah.
free table of goodies behind the two ladies working the front.
Yeah, they're our front guys. They always,
So that's Jim
They're cheerful.
Ligouri's wife. And is the other girl Rachel or Stacy, or am I even close?
I
I mean, given my
think it's one of the
issue
two.
with names,
I
they do
think
a great job up front.
I'm embarrassed to say. I usually remember names and I'm drawing a blank. I'm embarrassed to say. But these
That's all
two kind ladies always do a cheery job of keeping everything moving along and greeting all our attendees. So much thanks for all their organization and
Yeah.
nice job.
They collect the money and hand out the vendor packets and get people situated. And
And a friendly face to start everybody's
yes, and
Purchasing.
appreciate exact change.
exactly. Well, moving right along here. So, okay, I think this
There you
is
go.
some
Philco
very
38. I can't remember the last two
the
numbers, but I
Crosley?
have one of those guys. That's a Philco.
Oh, it's a Philco. You're right. I apologize. You're right.
5-tube transformer powered set. Plays pretty good too. Surprising. They made a
Oh, yeah.
farm version of that too.
Is it a 38-93?
You could be
I think so.
correct
I had one
because
like
I
that at
can't
one
even
time.
remember anything more than 38.
I want to say this is Roger's table, by the way.
Yeah, that could be because that RCA next to it on the left,
Oh.
the AM
Crosby.
FM, the Livingston. I got the Livingston,
You have the Livingston, I presume.
which you can't see.
Right. I might have
But
a
you can
photo
see
later.
a little bit of that. You can see a little bit on the other side.
It's possible I have a photo. I've got a lot of photos here anyway, so there's a fair chance there's one that caught it.
That's all right. He made me an offer I couldn't refuse. I didn't want to buy anything. It was he held me down. He made me do it.
Yeah, I heard you screaming.
Because
And
my
thank-
goal was to just get rid of a few things, and I wasn't. No. And of course, the thing's not tiny, but
Hmm,
nice little Crosley 5 there, huh?
yeah, nice one.
Always like those mirror dials on those Crosleys.
Yeah,
They're
those are
nice.
always popular.
And if you get, I don't know how close you can get into it, but if you get close to the number 70 there, right above it, they usually have the WLW.
Yes, they do.
Yes,
There,
they
it's
do.
right below the
There
70.
it is there.
Yeah,
Right
Powell
there.
Crosley was not a shy man.
Kind of like Zenith did with those. If you ever get a Zenith AM FM and you see that little dot or a crown near the number 100 on the FM dial, that's the Zenith FM station, the experimental frequency that they used in the 40s. So if you ever wondered what that was.
Ah, right. I remember somebody mentioning that in the past.
There's my radio.
There it
Look
is.
at that.
Look at that.
Now,
Hey,
John, so you like that because you like the Arvin front lit dial. So this is side lit
yeah,
from the sides where the two little
With the-
fins are, so
yeah.
to speak, on that. Yeah, and it's a nice radio.
I bet that looks nice at night. Handsome radio.
That
Case
is
is pretty good.
arguably one of the best sounding AM FM table radios I've ever heard. I mean, I have a Livingston, and it's eye candy to look at when it's lit up too. It's a nice set.
Interesting.
You
Yeah,
know,
I'll
and the
bear that in
case is
mind.
the case. I'm tempted to just clean it up and leave it. There's a little spotting up there. You can see it on the
Oh, yeah.
but I mean, it's not gouged. It's not scratched. I'm just
Yeah.
really tempted to clean it up and leave it.
Yeah, I think you better.
Leave it.
Yeah,
Leave it.
I'm with you there. I agree. Nice
Well,
radio.
leave it is always easier than doing anything because it's very attractive to me to just leave it.
It's
like
a
that.
quality radio and it sounds great. Matter of fact, that's got a 6V6 in it for an output. And I think it's like an 8-inch speaker right behind the dial.
Yes. That's right up there with some of those Z branders that were from that similar era.
Plus, Paul can only be original once. So there's your rationale.
That's true. You sound like a
They also made a Bakelite version of that
true
radio.
antiquer.
Yeah, now look at that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Nice
this is
piece.
Roger. He's
Yeah, it's
one of our regular members and active
There's Bill.
volunteer and supporters. Bill
Shinnett.
Shinnett is on our board.
Now I'm going to point this out because I forgot to upload my pictures, but I'm going to call it out anyway for a few people who might appreciate this. But way in the distance, there's this nice 46 or 47 Lincoln that I had to look at, and I took photos of it. And I was in remarkably good condition despite the thick
Yes,
paint.
yes.
And I said,
Next to
That's-
that was an Oldsmobile, a white one. I took some pictures of that. Yeah.
yeah, and then
There
also
were 3
it's just like-
cars over there.
plus
If,
you can
if
give
you
a-
want, if you want to see a better picture of that car, watch the original movie, The Godfather. And when
Oh, sure.
James Caan is driving one of them, when he pulls up to the toll booth, and then all of a sudden
Yes.
he's looking around. The next thing you know, a bunch of guys they're there with Tommy guns, and they make Swiss cheese out of him in the car. That's the same car.
That's a, and this one, this is just a quick tangent. Everything, it was complete as far as I could see, including a radio. Okay, so I can put a club spin on this. There was the original car radio was in there, but everything was complete. The leather interior was in really solid shape. This thing just needed just a complete, I don't know about its mechanics, but I said, wow, this is a neat car.
Roger had some really neat stuff there. I mean, he's got the hippo. You can see the backs of those 3 Zenith. I don't know if they're tube or solid state. Those
The
3
tube.
beasts, tube.
Yeah. the two.
And he's got a Zenith AM FM there. It looks like one of the Sapphires or the Carolines. He had some good stuff.
Yeah, he
I'm
always
sorry,
brings-
John. I didn't mean to cut
No.
you off on the car.
No,
You
that
just
was
had
quite
some
enough.
nice
I
stuff.
piled on more than I needed to on that, but it's a few people might appreciate
That
that.
nice colorful little green Zenith with the pop-up. I think that had the
Yeah.
pop-up dial in it.
Yeah, I might have some better photos as we go along here, but I usually try to. Of course, here's your fake. Always, there's got to be a TO somewhere. That one's in pretty nice shape. I think it was Roger, another one of Roger's radios, so it's been restored. I just thought that was, because we are, we span the vintages. I wanted to show some vintage.
To bring you the best in vintage entertainment devices.
Some of these were like the circle of, what is that? The circle, the radio behind it was one of those, Circle of
Sound.
Thank you. I was trying to think about that the term where they had the speaker underneath it, like that'd be surrounding you at all 360 degrees.
Does
He's
that,
got another TO under the table there too. He's all kinds of goodies.
does that Zenith have speakers on the sides? Because I see a balance control on it.
I think it is stereo, and I think it is on the sides. Or I'm doing this from memory, but I just saw it. And I said, fun to see these things, even though because again we cover solid state too. Enjoy
I've
seeing.
never seen that before, but it does have the word stereo FM on it just above the tuning knob.
Yeah. So the speakers must be on the sides.
Probably.
I can't, I suppose it could be on the bottom, but I doubt it. You probably would do it on the sides for reasonable sound. But yeah, it was actually in nice shape. I was like, well, that's fun to see. There's yours. That's the circle of sound. They said, I've always kind of found these interesting. Some of them, reminded me of, typical ribbon style speedometer, that they would do where the needle would just go across just like that, Nice looking radio. Clock radio, I should say. Couple of newer TOs.
Yeah, it looks like they're both 3000s.
Yeah, not reasonably priced.
Yeah, those are good numbers for those sets. Provided they got the battery box. The battery box is the hardest thing to find on these radios.
Yeah. Yep, just smaller portables here. Your RCA, you got a Westinghouse. What the ones
Well,
behind.
this guy had some nice stuff, man. I tell you, they're nice. They're in nice shape.
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
I like that Westinghouse.
Yeah, I like the color combo too on that, just from purely a color standpoint. Nice unit.
The train, they used to have a factory in New Jersey where they made them. There's maybe about 10 minutes from here in a town called Metuchen. So if you get a Westinghouse transistor, check the manufacturing location on there. It might say Metuchen, New Jersey on it.
Now, John, just, I don't know the model number, but if I'm not correct, I'm sure somebody can jump in if they're familiar with this. That may appear to be just a very simple All-American 5 Motorola.
But
I
it's not.
believe in there lurks a 3-gang tuning condenser. And those are very nice radios. They
Hey,
were,
Paul,
yes.
you're leaving out the best part. Some of them
What's
had
that?
235 C5s and push pull.
Oh, baby.
The tuned
Yeah, so it's kind of
RF.
an example of,
And the
it's
tuned
kind of a
RF.
sleeper. I mean, you put it on a table with all these little plastic sets and you might tend to overlook that.
There's a fellow in our club that made us all aware of it. His name is Bill Sikowski.
Yes,
And
I
he
see
found one
his
on eBay and he was just,
seam in the
he
reflector.
couldn't stop bragging about it. He says, "You never believe how cool this Motorola radio is."
He was giddy.
It's just like, it's just like, the American cars where you got the plain Jane stripper with the dogfish hubcaps that had the, the 409 or the
409.
where the biggest engine is sticking there. It's just a sleeper. There he goes, more of Roger's goodies.
Hmm.
And good selection.
Nice selection.
Yeah, he always is. In fact, I can't think of a case when he hasn't had a good set of stuff for people to pick from. Oh, this is nice.
He's a nice guy, and his business was printing, and his son still is his son still is in that business. They print auto decals. He does our signage and all kinds of fun stuff for us.
Wow. That's
Look
pretty
at that
neat.
case. Looks brand new.
Yeah, it's $30. I think that's what
Oh,
Bob's
Well,
like.
it says
Why didn't I
30.
get in my
It says
car and
30
show up?"
bucks. That's
I'm
probably a
gonna spend
$20
$300
radio.
on gas driving up to the next one.
Yeah.
Couple of slaps on the back, and you get $10 off.
That is in nice shape. Usually the leather on those things are done.
Yeah,
Especially the handle.
It's
Especially the
beautiful.
handle.
yeah, you look at that thing. It's not lacking. It's a nice unit.
Looks like one got put on a shelf, and look, there's another one.
Yeah, look at that. Another nice silver tone.
Equally as nice.
Can't tell what the price is, but it's probably in that ballpark, maybe a little less.
And as we all know, you never pay what's on the tag, right?
Right.
Seldom. We hope.
Never pay retail.
That's right. Now here's that Zenith. Pretty cool. Nice
There's
colors.
a lot of radios in that color.
Yeah.
And it just
That little
pops.
Zenith behind it is one of those. It might even be like a PCB board for the chassis, but they tend to have these big speakers in them for some reason. You got good sound out of it for a little radio. The white handle.
Yeah. I might have a closer picture of that possibly.
Ooh,
Nice.
that's nice.
Look at that.
Yachtman.
Yeah, isn't that nice?
Marine Aircraft and Aviation Special Services.
Yeah, look at that, huh?
That
Pretty,
antenna
pretty-
in the top there, very nice.
yeah, nifty radio. Nifty radio. And it's more, you got the hippo and other.
Yeah, whatever that portable is, I don't know if that's a Traveler, but that's in pretty decent shape too, huh?
That's a beta.
Theta.
A Theta.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Fred would be pleased. He's got a lot of Zenith, huh?
Yeah. That's just a fun little Westinghouse refrigerator style radio.
Need some knobs.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could find those at one of the other tables.
TVs are us.
wow.
Yes.
That's a very nice Zenith in the front row on the left side. The radio.
Racetrack.
The
Both
radio.
the TV and the radio are nice, but that's the oval dial.
That's
Yeah.
a 5S319 from 38. I have the same
Racetrack.
radio, but it's in a different case. It's a little bit bigger case.
Yeah, that
There's a
was
fellow in one of our forum groups who just sold at a meet down in, I believe it was Kentucky. He had a chairside radio, a Zenith with a racetrack dial, which I had never seen until I saw
whoops,
his.
sorry about that.
Pretty cool.
Hit that button just a little too long.
It's
There we go.
Admiral.
Here's a close up for those.
Yeah.
Nice cosmetic shape too, huh?
Yeah.
Grill
I
cloth's a little
mean,
beat up, but
it's a beautiful dial. Look at that. The deco numbers.
Oh, yeah.
The color of the dial matches the knobs, and it's just magnificent.
Yeah. Yeah. And this one, is certainly quite restorable, and pretty much everything is there. So, I don't
if you
know
clean that up pretty good, like that little faux stripe, I mean, it's good enough that you don't really have to like redo it. I mean, that's just a pain in the neck.
Above the push button on those, does that little piece come off to adjust the preset? Is that what that's for? Or is that just for marking the station call signs? Right
I
above
think
the,
those are for where
actually
you would
both,
put in the
John.
little paper for the call sign.
yeah, is it that, or is it that pull off those little metal things?
I
and
think
you
they had
adjust
five
it?
slug, they had 5 slug tuners
Slugs?
underneath
Yeah,
there.
you adjust it, okay.
Whereas some radios, I know you got to do it on the back. That's easy. You can do it from
Right.
the front, and you can see the dial while you do it.
Here's it. Whoops. Do that again. You hold it just like a half a second too long, and it wants to skip. My bad. There's that Admiral TV at the end. Car radio. Automatic.
Yep.
I don't know if they made car radios, but Automatic had a manufacturing facility not far from Fenway Park, Brookline Ave.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it looks like probably a 6-volt universal car or truck radio.
That's my thinking. Yeah. Yep. Oh, something modern. But, there was a guy that had a few, a handful of modern, relatively modern, like 80s or earlier sets, and it was worth taking a photo. Is this Panasonic, which was a pretty loaded set for the time, right from the 80s.
He was looking for good money for those things.
He
I think
was.
a little bit extreme, but that's me.
Yeah, no, I kind of felt the same way. He's
Because that's kind of yard sale stuff, if you're lucky.
What's Paul and John, what's with those is that they are for props for movies, commercials, and for hip hop, of that era.
Yeah.
We have a guy from Waves, Bruce Mager.
Yes.
He used to have a shop in New York City. Now it's in Englewood, New Jersey. And he would rent those pieces out for lots and lots of money. Consequently, these things are going for, I'm not saying this one in particular, but some of them will go for $300 to $400.
Yeah, I think this one, if you can see that tag, I think he's looking for $3 bills.
$275. I will, in
You gotta
his
be kidding me.
defense, for what it's worth, this I'm thinking is early 80s roughly. Okay. These are actually nice sounding systems, and they did have the nice soft touch buttons for the cassette, which was actually, I had a compact stereo that was Panasonic that had the nice electronic soft touch buttons for the cassette. It was actually cleverly and elegantly done. So I kind of have to admit, yeah, it is. I be ready to spend that kind of money, but on the flip side, if you want a daily driver, they have a bunch of cassettes for, probably wouldn't be bad.
We have a club member who will actually fix these because they're next to impossible to fix. Once you open them up, they all everything zing, zing, zang, and it's falling apart. And but he has the patience
He'll
to
put
put
your
the
eye
thing
out.
back together and get them working. Again, not my cup of tea by any means, but again, they're used for props.
Yeah.
And the cassette deck has Dolby and also uses metal tape.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a pretty loaded box because I still have my early from 1984, my Panasonic, much smaller one with the presets, that I have is the FX2. I've showed it many meetings ago because we were just talking about stuff, and that's my newest radio. And I've had it since I bought it new in 1984. I was in college and I wanted something better, and I won't part with it. It still sounds decent. It's, whatever, I've had it, I'm gonna keep it. But,
It is interesting now. I had a friend. He was more of a stereo guy when we were in high school and college. He was Mr. Deanon and Servant Vega and AEI speakers, and he was making Hafler preamps out of. He was doing lots of crazy things. But I remember he had bought, it was like at a Leechmere, just a little. I don't know if it was a Sony boombox, but it had a shortwave band on it. I went over his house one night, and here I am messing around with my Sonys and my Grundigs and listening to the BBC. And he's listening to the BBC on this boom. I'm like, what are you doing? And it had a shortwave. It was fairly well engineered, and he didn't really have much more than the whip antenna that he was using. So, sometimes you'd find these things with a good, you could DX with it. But again, it's just, I don't know, maybe it's from the era. Maybe I'm just not admitting that I'm as old as I am, and that really is way more vintage than I give it credit for.
You just don't do any breakdancing. That's all.
Yes,
well,
yeah.
you didn't see him. You didn't see him at the.
That's a good
Brookline.
thing for everybody. That'd be about 7.4 on the Richter scale.
By the way, just that was the big feature thing they were calling ambiance, because my radio also has the ambiance.
Oh wow! If
thing.
it has ambiance, it's 275.
Yeah, well, you pay for the label, but what it's worth, it's neat in its own way.
I hear you, John. The engineers for that set are glad you're speaking up for them.
Well, I wouldn't pay
Carson
$275, but I have a mild amount of sympathy. That's the way I'm speaking.
No, you'd pay $275 for this Grundig, though, wouldn't you?
Well, I said he wasn't
take it off the shelf.
This was $225, so it was a little cheaper. It was actually a pretty nifty unit. This Grundig, these Grundigs of this era are pretty well known for being pretty strong. They can pull in good signals, and
I like the knob configuration on the top. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, they're neat radios. But no, I didn't bite.
I think he's got the manual with it too, doesn't he? Is that?
Yeah, I mean that's worth a little bit of something to me. It's
not
worth
the manual instruction.
270, but when you have the documentation, that's worth a little bit more for me. It's the convenience of having, especially on things like these with
it's really complete.
Yeah, it's not bad. I couldn't resist taking the photo. This was a stereo Grundig, which is actually a pretty nifty thing. And again, 275. Again, he had a manual and so forth, and in nice shape. And it's the concert boy.
I remember that guy. He and his wife wear the
they're all dressed up in red, white, and blue
jackets. Yes,
yeah.
yes.
And she goes, I go everywhere with him, even though she didn't want to be there. I could tell that, but it's very nice.
That's a common theme with a lot of spouses who make these events.
Right. Here's another. This one was maybe the cheapest. No. Okay, is he asking 3? Where's that? Let me just see here. 250.
It looks like 3.
This was probably the most ambitious one of the lot, I would say, for the price. It's nice, but not 250 nice. That's just my opinion.
Well, I'd take your opinion.
But there they are. Couldn't resist taking them a lot. They're a fun couple.
A colorful character.
They are.
Figuratively and literally.
That's right. They were fun. Glad they came. There we go. A tube tester. Precision, no less.
I've always wanted a non-precision one myself.
Well, that's the way to go, right?
Like many of my radios.
Nice, Zenith.
Nice cube, good shape. Those are desirable.
Yeah.
Big black dial. You can get in on the ground floor. It's entry level.
That's right. And some radio.
Knobs look original, and that's a big deal with those.
Yeah.
I have that radio, and it's a decent radio for a 5-tuber with a transformer, even on the short wave band.
Okay. Fender guitar amp. Always worth seeing. We have other goodies out there.
Nice little.
You want to plug in for us, Bob? Give us a few bars.
That's nice, Bilko.
That's the 40, that's the one with the, no, wait a minute. Let's see, what model number is that? Oh, that's
I have a
got the FM on.
345T.
42,350. That's the model number.
Yes, that's a step up from that. And those are nice sets. That's, I believe,
Is
7 tubes, and they play very well. They're good DXers.
that the one with the antenna in the back that
It looks like
circles?
plumbing. Yes. it
Circles,
looks like
yeah,
plumbing.
yeah.
It,
It's, okay.
Yes, the special antenna.
Oh, the SA, yes, the special antenna.
Yeah,
Okay.
tuned loop.
There's a variety of goodies there.
I like that little plastic GE. The numerals are very 50s.
Go back there.
Case looks like it's in pretty good shape.
Yeah, there was some.
I mean, that could be an Emerson, though I don't think it is, but it should be if it isn't.
I haven't a clue what that is, but it did have shortwave on it.
This one, black one.
Yeah.
We can get how close we can get.
You can see the bands on the dial there.
I
Yeah.
might have a better
Nice
shot.
looking set though.
Nice shape. I might have a better photo. This one I'm pretty sure is a Grundig behind this, if memory serves. It's a baseline, entry
It's got
level.
a little RCA Globetrotter there. It's got a
Yeah,
nice portable.
yeah, it's a nice variety.
Mhm.
There we go. I did, and this is
Oh,
Made
it's
in
the-
USA.
made in USA. That doesn't
Yeah.
tell me.
That's a similar cabinet to the one you showed earlier that has many different brand names. I don't know if that's one of those that people use for private labeling, department stores and other manufacturers. I think it is, because that's a very common case.
Still a
Could
fun,
be a
fun
jewel.
dial face.
It's a great
It's
dial.
it's a slightly cheaper radio because it even says on the bottom, it says made in the US of America.
Yeah, I know.
Isn't
They kind
America
of
one
cut
of the
that up.
Middle Eastern countries?
Yeah, they can't finish
Yeah, that's
the
weird. Yeah.
ICA.
Yeah.
That's only the dial. The rest of it on the back.
They
It
would
says
have to
made in
pay the
Japan.
workers union wages if they had to print that on the dial.
No, you guys got it all wrong. That's a country that doesn't exist anymore in Africa.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah.
Amer.
There we go. Okay. All right. Now we have everything's explained.
The Emir of Schmo. Well, used to run that.
Ah,
country.
There's that
Whatever.
GE. Actually, this is a fun radio.
Yeah, it's got that
I
kind
think
of
that's a
funky.
Plascon cabinet too. It's not painted.
Those numbers, the numerals almost look kind of like a Western thing, don't they?
Yeah, it's kind of like a
KC, or maybe I'm just thinking Kansas City. I don't know.
has like kind of.
But I guess that I'm familiar with that chassis somewhat. I think it's a pretty plain Jane 5 tuber. And then GE made some nice sets, but they put in these horrible little 3 and 4 inch speakers that were just too firm. They could have sounded better in my book, but hey,
They even
gotta
made
make it-
that radio. Some of them had shortwave band on them too.
gotta make $1. Now, was that made up in, where was their plant? They had one out in upstate New York. Was it Elmira or Schenectady?
Schenectady.
Yeah.
Schenectady. Okay. Nice Sony reel to reel.
Mm.
Tape recorder. Some modern stuff here, just to appease the people who enjoy the modern stuff. Some photos of that.
Can you close up a little bit, John? I just want to see what that receiver is on the bottom. KLH,
Oh,
all right.
KLH.
KLH, yeah.
Sort of
Yep.
a local favorite.
Model 52A. Fisher.
There you go, John. Do you have one of those? You're Mr. Fisher.
That's, the Model 100 with the
The
Tuno-matic.
kitchen radio. The kitchen radio model.
That's an expensive model. They sell for good money if they're working.
Interesting.
Got the Tunomatic.
I remember
presets.
I asked the guy what he wanted for it, and because it had that chip in the front top,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that that kind of took away from it. It's the worst place for that thing chip to be, but
I know, too bad it was on the
Is it-
bottom. You could kind of almost.
It's the way
live
your
with it.
eye is drawn to it, yes.
Yeah,
yeah, it's, you know, there's a beauty, I mean, it's a great radio. I have, the Tunomatic was on a number of their solid state receivers, stereo receivers, and they go for a lot of money, those receivers, even if they're solid state, but that goes for a couple $100 usually.
interesting. Yeah, neat. Sort of neat in its own way. There we go. Venus. Some free stuff behind it. I don't think these are.
Now, is that a cosmetic defect or a tear, or is that some kind of a decal or a label on the one on the far right?
Looks like it was cut. Maybe this is part of the
Alright.
free.
It was a break. Okay, so that's like a plastic, like a
Yes.
fiberboard. Okay. I get it.
Yeah, something happened. I don't know whether something got knocked into
And
it.
that's a shame because you know what, the big problem with those is, you know, rust and the dials get degraded, and that dial itself is in pretty good shape.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
just
it's
got
too
that.
bad.
You could probably fabricate something without too great a difficulty for that. Maybe, I don't know. Replace it with cloth.
I mean, I think that maybe this was part of the free pile. I mean, these, you know, are in.
Oh, that is the free. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
It might have been. I don't know.
For
This wasn't
parts
built-
alone, just for the knobs. Think of that. You know.
This wasn't Bill done, was it? Just trying to
I
think.
don't know. That's a good pile of free stuff.
Yeah, that is. Well, but too
Rough
bad about
knob.
that knob is pretty sad shape there. But otherwise, it's nice shape. These are somewhat interesting. They are. You can see this. Michigan. It says Michigan. If I'm reading this correctly, right?
Michigan Radio
Michigan
Corporation.
Radio Corporation.
That's what I thought. Thank you.
And a little
Ah.
Guild spice rack behind it there.
There we go. That's
Down at the communications desk.
national goodies.
Hal Crafter speaker.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this was, I thought was neat, this little Philco. That was kind of cute. This transistor.
And you know, in the yeah, and those are the, you know, the grill there. Those are the things that are usually horribly warped and nasty, and that's damn good.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice shape.
Oh,
And
it's pretty
obviously
good.
they're missing the
Handle's
handle, but
gone, but
otherwise in decent shape. And it's fun to look at with that pattern on the front. You know, it looks like a little mini suitcase. Obviously intended that way.
It looked like a piece
because
of
it's a
40s
travel
luggage.
radio.
There you go. Up, Arvin.
There we go.
It's kind of a cool little look.
What's going on with that dial pointer? Is that really the way it's supposed to be? It's just a short.
Is it like a mini? Yeah, some of them are minis, or it could be broken.
Yeah, I was
I
just
can't-
wondering whether it's a
It's
stub
like a
or.
broken.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
it looks wrong. So it feels like it needs to be another.
If it was pointed, I would say yes, it's a stubby. But yeah, that looks like a. Oh well.
Yeah, it's too big. 'Cause it looks like it needs to be another ½ inch longer or something. Beta. Pretty reasonable shape.
Mm.
Nice work here on the front. Another Feta.
Oh, Fata's transoceanic.
Yeah, right. You don't see those too often.
No, there's rare as hen's teeth.
Yeah, I thought this was interesting. That's why I had to grab tested. So apparently, judging from it, it
Pots
needs
need
some work, but
cleaning.
it's otherwise, apparently working.
I
No,
can't
looks
quite read the
reasonable.
note.
See if I can get this a little closer. So it says, tested on 3.520 stations, heard on broadcast band, somewhat off
Frog.
frog. Pots need cleaning, needs something else. So,
Off
all right.
frequency, somewhat off
Frequency.
frequency.
Oh, frequency, thank you. Yes, and now I
The
see.
frequency frog.
That's
Pots
like
need
frog.
cleaning.
Yeah, so
They're in the
all right,
sink,
it's
and you
some
better
work.
go do it right now.
But cool otherwise, because it looks mostly all there.
I wonder what the front of the case
Worked
looks like when
when
it's pulled
new.
down. Oh,
Yeah, there you go. Worked when new. And if
Kinda
anyone
like me.
cared,
Well, you know, it was bought brand new by the original owner.
there you go. And if anyone who cares, just like
So
It's a bunch of used car sales.
It wasn't in the
Exactly.
flood. It's okay. It starts up and drives.
Honest John's very used radios.
I'll get you a plaid blazer and a pair of white bucks for the next
Cheap
show.
cigar.
For anyone who cares, this looks like an Emood Senior 60. Decent
What's it,
rating.
what's it gonna take for me to get you into that mood today?
Yeah. It's hard enough to say, although actually it was really an acronym in all fairness. That's, you know, so it wasn't like someone's last name. It stands for Ernst Messling Donau, because I guess it must have been the two cities they were made. But Ernst Messling must have been the founder of.
Now,
It's
I've
the
seen
rare.
those Emerson sell for big money.
That's early AM stereo right there. So.
There you go. Yeah, these
They have
are.
a sunburst model of those that get big bucks.
I
I don't know if those are Lowy cabinets or who did those, but they're sharp.
They don't sound that great either, and they use
No, the chassis are crammed, but they look at, that's another. Again, it looks pretty good. I'm sure when they were brand new, they were quite fetching.
They use a 50B5 on the output instead of a C5. That I remember.
And you got a missing knob there on one of them.
Missing knob and a missing number 16.
Yeah, there's not everything is all there, but this is his last name, Radio Henry. I think of his last.
Henry Tessier.
Thank you. I just had a freeze. I think that's
from
Henry.
Quincy, Mass. Nice man.
Yeah, that's his. That's the Philco we were looking at earlier. And
He
there's.
sold me a humongous Philco and gave me a good price on it. His excuse was, ever since I hurt my back, I can't even lift this. And then, of course, when I was moving it to my car, since I hurt my back, I was ready to turn around and put it on the free table. I couldn't even carry them. Stupid thing. Thanks, Henry. No, it was a good deal. Someday it might get fixed. I don't know.
You didn't get the tube tester along with it?
Oh, the precision tube tester.
There you go. Begging to be had. Here's Howard.
I could put it with my low fidelity stereo system.
Nice leather TL.
Yeah. Nice. Good looking one. Another Philco Transit Home. Pretty reasonable shape, a little clean up and in good shape.
Yeah, the Bakelite doesn't look bad. Those are kind of weird. They don't have a dialite, and they don't even have a little piece of plastic in the.
No dialite.
And they don't have a little piece of plastic to protect the the dial scale. It's a hole. You put your finger in it.
I guess that must have been your real Strippo base radio then.
I think that was your base model.
This is I took a bunch of photos before I showed up the lineup. See the people waiting to be coming in.
The throngs.
Birds.
Burst through the tent.
Yes, all the vultures ready to start picking on all those lovely carcasses.
That's right. You see them flapping their arms.
Hey, 40 years ago, that's what they looked like getting into the Who before the Stampede.
That's right.
Yeah, before they went to that concert in Cincinnati, right?
That's right.
Here's a B&O. I thought that was interesting. See this receiver.
Too many buttons. I'm.
Look at all those buttons. If you love buttons, this is the unit to have.
Think of the fun you'll have making all those buttons work.
Yes. I have a Baomaster 2400, and you know why I like it? Because it's simple, and it's very simple. It's kind of cool, but nowhere near the amount of buttons.
No, that's
a serviceman's nightmares with that.
But if you're on the flip side, you love buttons, that's the one to have. You got to have lots of buttons. But a whole bunch of test equipment, various solid system cassette decks, wide variety of stuff. For testers,
Scopes, we got it all.
got it all.
Sometimes I wonder how those little tables stand up with all this stuff on top.
Oh, I'm sure there's been a
I like
collapse
that little
into-
door.
Yeah,
What kind
isn't
of a
it?
set is that? I like that little door.
It's nice.
Is that an Emerson?
It's
It's like an Emerson gimmick.
that's a very early volume control.
Thing's fine, man. It closed the shutter. That's clever.
John, you give a new meaning to the word dry.
There you go.
Is that like a Flintstones? Just
fine.
shut it. Shut your mouth.
I can't tell who made this. Evil radio though. With a very simple volume.
Anything
control.
with doors or louvers or those are all things that are, you can tack another $10 onto that set for that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's got 3 knobs, so probably one of them is a band switch, huh?
Yeah.
It's a generally electric AM/FM.
Yeah.
That's kind of a unique design. I wonder if gave him the idea to slap a piece of plastic on a nice wood cabinet like that. I don't know.
It's
Well,
a
that might have
hybrid.
been after the 5 martini lunch that the engineers had that day.
Yeah.
I hope, yeah.
We got a
Probably.
warehouse full of this not right-angled plastic. What the hell are we gonna do with it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's after they did the schematic.
Yeah. Yeah. It is strange, but it's not unusual is the word, maybe.
Some things are kind of like car wrecks, they're repulsive yet compelling.
You have to
Right.
slow down and look at it.
Yeah, you can't avoid it. You want to look, but you don't really, just
Like
one of
when
those things.
1958 when Packard and Studebaker got together.
Yeah. They had
Oh,
some brutal designs came out of that. Yes, indeed. But the early 70s Panasonic, maybe, probably early 70s. Well, that could be late 60s, but
an
Just
8-track
look
player
at just
there.
look at that for a second. No, wait a minute. Go back there. Just
Yep,
look at it
I'm
for
gonna
a
back
second.
her up. I'll back that baby up.
Talk
Yeah.
about look at the consistency. You have round rotary knobs, you have rectangular push buttons, you've got a square push button, you've
Thumb
got some lever type switches, you got a thumb wheel, and then you got this rotary thing that's above the tone. It's like every possible shape and configuration of a control is on the front panel of that thing.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Funny enough, I think that was.
What do we
kind
got
of
in the
trick.
parts department? Well, we got these square knobs, we got these square push buttons, we got some round knobs.
well, that was the sons and the daughters from the GE engineers that had the 5 martini lunch, and they went out and they just got they got caffeinated over at Starbucks, and then they decided to make that.
Just bizarre.
It's funny, kind of as you mentioned that, kind of reminds me, and there's like a recurring theme, but I think there's truth behind it. It's like, you sat in some of the car interiors of that era, early 70s, you had that same kind of theme. You had some push buttons, some round, you had round things, flip switches, and they, it's funny how sometimes this trend just carried over into like radio, ergonomics.
You're obviously a man who's ridden in a Chrysler Cordoba.
Yeah,
I've been
in the car vernacular, it was referred to as the malaise era
Yes,
of
indeed.
automobiles.
Well, you see, my uncle worked for Lincoln Ford and Mercury, mostly Lincoln Mercury. So we had a number of Contis, demos. That so as a kid, I got to ride in a number of them, and I remember sliding into the dash and seeing all these array of like round buttons, square buttons, and switches, flip switches, and all that. The flip buttons for the power antenna and all. So I was kind of like, wow, look at all this. There's so much to play with here. It was pretty cool. He had some nice cars, but it is, kind of reminds me of that era. You just slide through the nice leather seat, and there you go. There's all this array of stuff.
That's
of
right.
all-
And
all sorts of weird controls.
Ricardo Montalban puts it in drive, and off you go
That's right. That's right. Where's Tattoo?
to the Fantasy Island.
The rich Corinthian vinyl.
The
That's
Corinthian
right.
Rapids, yes.
That's right. But they were.
Do you know how many Naga hides we had to kill to make this car? They hunt them, in Connecticut.
Yes.
Naga
Like
hide season.
Vikings.
Yeah, is it Naga season right now? I don't
It's
know.
August. I think it is. But, I think it's the same data. Pretty nice shape. Oh, I thought that was funny. Our own Tom Pereira. I don't know if he's still on, but that was his service. So if you want your hard disk shot, you pick your
We'll do it for you. Yes.
you pick your options here.
Well,
I like the African Safari rifle. Let's just bounce it, take that thing and send it into oblivion.
I want to have a beer with this guy.
well, it's Dr. Tom.
The amazing thing is I could never get any gun to penetrate a hard disk. And finally, somebody told me that the disk itself has so many layers, it's like a really good bulletproof vest.
Like a Kevlar, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, maybe you just need to get a bazooka, Tom.
That's right.
You got enough military stuff up there. I think you should just keep looking. You'll find one.
Just drop an Enigma on it too, right?
That's right.
Well, I'm sure you can get yourself a nice Sherman tank or a Panzer tank, with the 88 millimeter. That should put a nice hole in
Well,
thing.
that could be a contest at the next meet. We could, we'll get we'll have it at the range.
There you go.
I always thought a 357 Magnum would go through just about anything. And you can see right there, let's see, the one on the right, it just went into the disc and it stopped. On the left, it just made a big dent in it.
So you didn't say you feel lucky, punk?
Oh, those people at Hitachi, if they only knew.
Oh, that's funny.
Make my day.
So funny.
Let's make my day. Make my
there's
cry.
more Tom's goodies, all cool and interesting keys and telegraph. Oh, all sorts of awesome stuff.
Okay.
Now we're inside in the building, so we got a variety of POs and
Looks like a Hickok tester.
yep. What I'll do is I'll
No
slightly
collection is not
something
complete
for
unless you have
everybody.
an S-120 Helicrafters. 4 tubes of joy.
4 tubes of joy. $25 for this traveler.
Nice.
And it's got a telecron movement clock.
It
Thank
looks
you,
like
National
those.
Investment.
Don't those numerals look like they had those left over from the 30s, and they somehow didn't get around to using them till 1955?
I think you're right. Yes, it's some leftover stock floating around.
Yes.
Fun to look at, though, despite the somewhat incongruity of the eras.
Yeah. My eyes hurt.
Yeah, right. Stuff. Little GE.
Beam of light radio.
Yeah. Get your little set. Up. There's Russ. Selling his wares.
Rust time. A nice little console tone there, and
Yeah.
a few
Like
odds
a
and ends.
Radiola 17 or 18 with a hood.
Yeah.
Hood's always missing.
Yeah, 18 with a hood still.
Got a little close up stuff. There's a Zenith close up. Nice little radio. And
I like the little red dial indicator light that goes
Yeah.
with the little dot there.
Oh, there's another. I don't think it's the same one. I think it's another silver tone. Oh no, it must be the same one because it's unlikely there were two.
It has the same
The
knob
missing,
missing.
the
It
missing
is
knob.
different.
I apologize. Occasionally, when I'm taking so many photos, I occasionally forget that I may have taken a shot of prior
Yeah,
one.
the guy that bought it asked me about the knob. I said, go take a look at the one in the auction. So I hope he really didn't. Anyways, yep, missing the knob.
Yeah, he just
Oh,
hasn't
yeah.
gone over and taken the knob off yet.
Oh, that's awful that were the case. This is nice.
Nice, Emerson.
Yes, indeed. Very nice.
My only complaint on so many of those Emersons is, that ballast, they're just hard to get. And a lot of them used a ballast, no transformer.
Right.
Grunt, grunt.
Pioneer was
Reed Eisman.
eyes. There you go. Variety of stuff.
Speaking of ballasts, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Speaking of ballasts, right here, I have set up my solution to a ballast.
Stop sharing for a moment so you can see.
Here's, you can hear the glorious sound coming from this Empire radio.
Okay.
But some 65 years ago, it needed a ballast, and this is what it got.
A light bulb.
A 40-watt light bulb.
Oh, yes. Well, see, that's
So
a big
anybody
dial.
who finds trouble finding a ballast, you can decide whether it's 25 watts. The radio works, but 40 watts, it works a little more powerfully.
And it's a hell of a dial light, though, too. I mean, you
Yeah.
find the controls.
Well, it doesn't have its own dial lights.
I think that would be Mr. Magoo's style light right there.
That's what I need right there. That's for me. Yeah, Magoo.
That's funny.
You've done it again. Mr. Magoo's driving school.
That's pretty cool. Got that working.
Yeah, agreed. Let's see here. Let's see, we're probably
3760, I think, Philco. I saw.
Oh, maybe I can back that up.
Little early cathedral. It's got broadcast band, one shortwave. There's a BP 10 RCA. There's a Radiola 3. I can't
Is that the
recognize
Philco?
what that-
That's a photo. Is that the photo finish Philco, Bob?
Yes.
Arr,
Yes, it is.
something else to cuss at.
Well,
Though, I mean, there
don't
are people
complain to
who,
me. Go find Philo and complain to him.
Yeah, go find James Skinner. Cheap piker.
Various
Some veneer.
periodicals. But this was neat, this Philco. Another Philco.
Was that a lamp?
Yes, that's a lamp. I
Yes.
thought that was really interesting. There were a couple for
Yeah, it's
sale.
actually a pair of them.
Yeah, and someone did buy them. I saw him walking out with them. This is neat.
I want to go to his house.
And it's
Humphrey
got-
Bogart greets you at the door.
Oh, I would have loved them, but there was some, I can't remember it was a scary number though. It was a pretty
Yeah.
Scary. Very scary.
complete with lampshades.
It did, yeah. They were complete. This, if you look up there, decent shape, restorable. Yes.
There's plenty of lampshades at Walmart. That's at least
What
a
do they
price.
ask? Looks like $45 on this one, judging from if I read the thing correctly. Not ridiculous. There they are. There they
Oh
were.
boy.
Nothing like a square gray lampshade to kind of really make for a romantic night.
Yeah, I know. It's too bad they were
I'll
like
take a
10 or
Tiffany
something.
any day.
They were pretty cool though, I have to
Do you
admit.
think those are does anybody, I mean, is that the original shade, or does just get like find those at the, those look like something that makes
I'll
them
say
navy.
it's a mimic because it should be something more translucent, and
Yes.
I've seen in there more of a tannish or
Yeah,
color.
the color seems, yeah.
Almost looks like a couple of waste cans the guy cut the bottom out of.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Yeah.
Well, maybe they did. Yeah, the color, it just strikes me as not right. I
Yeah.
agree that the color should be like a tan or much lighter. Seems
Some may say hideous, but some may say
And
beautiful.
then put in their own piping. Yeah.
Yes. They got some gimp down at the 5 and 10.
Yeah, and they weren't pretty, but somebody wanted them. I just saw them walking out of the building.
Hey,
so.
who am I to judge?
Yeah.
This Sentinel is actually in good shape. The I've seen many of these radios where for some reason their dial glass where all the red numbers are going
Flakes.
across the dial, it's like all that paint is gone.
Yeah.
And this one's in actually really, really nice shape. I don't think I've ever seen this model with a dial that looked that nice.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty solid shape there. Ah, here's a wide variety of little solid state portables.
There we go. We got an Arvin there on the lower. That's an Arvin, I think
Yeah.
an 8 transistor on the lower left there.
Yeah.
Let's see, above that's a GE, and then well, 2 GEs, one on top of the other. We got a Royal 755. I can't really tell what's on that. Really nice. What is this? Just pick array, or is it buy the whole lot?
I think this was a pick a radio, but I can't swear to it.
Some nice radios in that pile.
Yeah. And they're all
Yeah, that Royal 755 is a little 8 transistor DX machine. And that's the cool version. That's got the rotary handle that you can spin around.
Yes.
I have the version with the battery saver, which is about as useful as, you know, used camshafts or used toilet paper, or, you know.
On a ball, we get it.
I wish I had one with the rotating antenna handle like that. That's pretty neat. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it looks to be in good shape too.
I bought the Zenith up in the corner.
You did?
Yep, that one. And I bought the Silvertone under the box radio up front.
Oh, okay.
Those have now a home with me, and they both worked.
Great.
And I also bought one that's not in the picture. It was it was one of the Hong Kong Zenith radios. It's actually, I've recapped it already, and the quality is actually quite good. There's not a lot of info on it. I believe it's a 645. That's the model number. It's a nice radio.
Oh, that's great. Did you get a good deal on, or did you think you got a good deal on, Henry?
I think I got $10 for all 3 of them.
Oh, that's a
That's a
smoking
good deal.
Great
I
job.
negotiated.
Nice
Great job.
job.
Yep.
Cool. The Zenith.
Just remember, Henry, don't ever let them call you cheap. The name we prefer, the moniker we prefer is frugal.
There you go.
You wouldn't believe how many times that people have used the F word on me. Even my wife.
That's funny.
Cheap.
Yeah, there you go. There's a stack of them.
Oh, there you go.
Triple,
Pick a color.
triple play.
No, you can't break up the set. Got to get all of those.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll be suffering from Zenith envy.
Yeah.
Right. That's pretty
You
cool.
seldom see one of them, and then here's 3 of them all together.
Now, one of those didn't have the same emblem on the middle, though, so that kind of breaks up the triplets there. Anyway.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Just put that one in the middle.
There you go. Yeah, for a little more symmetry. Yes. See a silver tone. Like a recorder of some sort. Little reel to reel.
Yep.
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 'Cause you
Little
can see
reel
the
to reel.
spindles up the top
Wow.
there. Yep.
That was neat. There,
We got it all.
there you go. Little one. Good morning, Mr. Phelps.
This tape will destroy itself, right?
That's right.
Self-destruct in 15 seconds.
Exactly. I'll make these little mini ones. So I can think of
New
it. Mission
capacitors after
Impossible.
50 years.
Your mission, if you choose to accept, is to shoot a
Exactly.
357 Magnum through this hard drive.
That's right.
Oh, Bell and Howell. You know, how many of these showed up
Where
in
would we
schools?
be without them?
Schools where I knew how to work, use these all the time.
They used to show those Bell Labs science movies and you know, the Magnificent Hemo, the Magnificent Heart.
I bet I could still run this if I put my mind to it. It's been a long time, but they're fun.
Were you the AV guy with the kid that they always asked to?
Well, yeah, because, you know, it's just, I guess I, you know.
The
I-
5th grade AV club guy, you know?
I wasn't
was
even
actually
trusted
not
to run a
part of
film
one,
strip.
But it just seemed natural to do, you know, to help out. But I was like, oh, of course I can do this, you know, and just did it and boom, done. But I never belonged to an AV club, regrettably, perhaps.
Hey,
That's cute, little
John,
Philco.
John
Yeah.
and Paul, Listen,
sir.
this is Richard Lee. I have to leave, and I just want to do a little commercial
Of course.
before I go.
Give us a,
Sure.
We are, the New Jersey Antique Radio Club is having their fall Hamfest swap meet this Saturday at Parsippany PL in New Jersey. And I just want to let you folks know about it, because I know some of you upstaters and New Englanders do come on down, so we do appreciate that. And of course, all are welcome. And I do want to also talk to Tom Pereira. I'll call him or email him later and earlier next week about his wonderful presentation he'll be giving to our club on the 12th to do with Spy Radio. So Tom, we do look forward to that too. So I'm going to have to bid you for
thanks, Rich.
do
Thanks for
right at the
dropping by.
moment, because we have a social meeting of the New Jersey Antique Radio Club starting at 9, and I got to jump over to that too.
Sure.
So it's always great to see you guys, and
Thanks
and thanks so
again.
much for the
Thank
tour.
you,
Really
Rich.
appreciate it. Okay.
Yeah, good having
Thanks
you,
for
Rich.
coming by.
See you
All right,
Saturday,
see you
Rich.
soon. See you soon.
Yeah.
When
Actually,
he said social, I thought he meant he had to go put the beer on ice.
Bring your own beer.
BYOB, I guess.
All right, kid. Thank you, Rich.
So actually, bearing in mind that the time, I can move along a little bit faster.
Yeah,
but
because
I'm
we're past it.
We're
well past our beddies.
Yeah, well, actually, sadly, I've got a 9 p.m. Conference call with a customer.
We'll kind of buzz through, and we'll just take
I'll
a quick
buzz
look
through a
at
little
some
bit,
of the
but
little
feel free to
nifty
jump
little
in.
calculator. Yep.
Yeah.
Vacuum fluorescent display, they're cool.
Yeah, and this came with the box and everything, and I know someone bought it because I forgot who it was, but I walked out with it, and I said, "Oh, that's really cool," and I wanted to make sure I got the box with it. The old phone ring.
Guild.
Country
Those are
Bell.
popular. They always seem to have a following.
Yeah,
Nice
typically-
RCA console.
That is nice. Yeah. Oh, I had to take
Tuning
some people
Oh,
brought
there you
some
go.
early computer stuff, and so this brings a little bit of memories as my early days of. There's a
Oh,
Hey, my
TI.
company just brought 30 of those, and they said they were doing an upgrade tomorrow.
It's a fun walkthrough. Oh, I had one of these, the Timex
Oh,
Sinclairs,
Timex.
DX81. I remember these. These were kind of neat.
God.
They were your entry level computer for $100. $100, boys.
Sinclair.
That's right. Timex Sinclair. Timex must have bought them out or did some, and yeah, they were kind of neat in their own way.
Did they take a licking and keep on clicking?
No.
Well, I'm not so sure about that, but there's of course a Radio Shack Tandy.
This looks like the Adam Vaughn table.
You would think so, but it was some other guy that Adam Vaughn was spending a lot of time talking to. So
That's in pretty good shape, actually.
it is.
It's
I mean,
very-
that's what was
very
fun
clean.
taking it. These early personal computers, fun stuff. It's at the
Oh,
Stone.
Franklin, I remember those.
Yeah,
Spelling.
I thought I'd take
yeah.
a shot. It was just $25. It's this Tandy 1000. It was like
Before you had spell check.
it was kind of yeah. It's just a crew of people looking at various beer.
Those
articles.
keys look like something from a national cash register that they used to
Yeah.
have at the A&P.
Yeah, probably true. Probably. It's a nice variety of goodies. But
Nice tombstone there.
various stuff and various.
Looks like a
conditioning.
silver tone there on the lower left, maybe, huh?
Might be.
Might have a broken piece there on the grill. I think that was a silver tone.
Yeah.
Because I think I ogled it briefly.
Yeah. Scope.
Dumont.
Match. Oh yes, I thought this was match your worn photo needle. I thought it was kind of neat. See this little setup here.
Bring in your old
PRS.
needle for positive identification.
The trash 80.
Yeah, but it's kind of fun to see with the box. I mean, come on. How often do you see that? You really do.
So the memory's included. Come on, what do you want?
24K, boys. That's all you
That
need.
was my first computer, upgraded to 32K from 16K.
That's funny.
40
How many of those-
character, 8-line display.
That's
Could you cash in your bonus battery points from all those batteries you bought and get one of those? How many years do you have to wait? They give you that, what was that, free battery club? You buy 800 and they give you a set of leaky 4C batteries. Only at your local shack.
What
Yeah,
is that?
right. This was, I think I have a better shot. This is this apparently had,
There you go.
this was apparently the gentleman's original, he had it since he was a kid. And it had lights that kind of went, that
Yeah, it looks a
somehow-
little like,
Didn't you have something like that, John?
it's like a very, very rudimentary junior juke. You know,
Thank
it's
you.
not quite
That's-
as fancy as my junior juke, but
yeah.
Not
that was-
bad though, huh? Pretty cool.
He had it since he was a
Fire
kid.
engine red.
I want to say it was like right after World War II, like possibly like, 46, 47, somewhere around there, maybe.
I like the insulated next to it myself.
Yeah.
Strangely enough, those command for a fairly decent amount of money. I don't know why.
this is a Bruce table. If
Yeah,
there
it is
was.
Bruce's
Yes, it is.
table.
Those sunbeam wake
Yeah.
up alarm clocks.
That's right. He always has those there.
Pay here, $20. There we
It's
go
like
again.
a
That looks
more
like that other
elegant-
hideous thing
But this
There's
is
the
a little more
plastic radio
elegant.
without the wood.
before
is
they
a
got
little
on the
more elegant.
sauce.
Yeah. This is a
Before
little
they
more
went out.
elegant. In all fairness, these guys, they got it right this time. It's a little more tolerable. It's, that big old slab just going over the wood.
Case is in pretty decent shape.
Yeah, it
Those
is.
aren't bad.
Nice.
I have one of those. I'm having a little trouble with it, but there's oddly enough better on AM than FM. But the nice thing on those is that has the emblem, which again usually is the missing link.
Right.
But they have a
Those
nice
emblems are
speaker.
usually
They have a
gone.
nice speaker, and they sound pretty good. I don't think those are the original knobs though.
Yeah, I think you're right.
The knobs are kind of flat and pancakey.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a decent little radio though.
Nice
Yeah.
RCA. Somebody put their vase on top. It looks like.
Yeah, you can tell that for
Scotch
sure.
and water.
Admiral, little push buttons.
Probably a 4-tuber. I was always disappointed in some of the later Admirals. Some of the designs were pretty cool, but there just wasn't much inside. They never
Yeah.
sounded very great. That's a twin speaker RCA.
It is.
Mhm.
Exciting. Look at that
They
color.
actually made a model of that has cigarette lighter on top.
Really?
To go
Yeah, I
on
think
your,
there's one of these on eBay right now with a cigarette lighter on it.
Holy, wow. The
that's
color
what you tell the
matches.
little kid to put his finger in when he wouldn't shut up. Come here, mommy wants you to put your finger on the radio.
Ah!
To go on your oilcloth avocado green tablecloth.
Fun to look at though. The color's cool. Color's cool.
There's another one of those Telecrons, John, from Ashland.
Yeah, I tell you, Asher made a
Is that a
ton
GE?
of them. It shouldn't be because GE didn't seem to, at least far I could tell, was typically
Could
never.
be an Arvin. It has those Arvin, that Arvin numeral look.
Yeah, I guess the only reason I don't think
I
I've
don't know
ever
what
seen
that
GE
is.
that they may make their own timepiece because I never saw GE with a Telecron piece, but I can't swear to it though.
The nice little Emerson Modern behind it there.
Yes, indeed.
They're not bad radios. They have a pretty good sized speaker and they sound pretty good. That's a surprise, is what I would term those. They
Yeah.
look pretty unique and they sound better than they should.
Well, boys, as much as I hate to say it, I actually have to jump off this. We have a handful of.
Exactly.
That's all, folks. Hey,
Well,
we stayed a half hour later.
well,
No regrets, John.
Yeah,
Thanks
what
for
I'm gonna
showing
do
us
is
through the stuff.
I'm gonna quickly finish them because I hate to feel like you guys didn't see the whole thing. Now this is kind of interesting. The
Yep. I
1946
looked at that.
That was pretty cool. But I figured you guys at least see. Oh yeah, that was also nice. But I wanted to make sure you guys get a chance to see the rest of the stuff out to Bosch. That's right.
Bosch.
Kind of nice to see all the stuff I didn't come home with.
Yeah, I know. It's a walk down memory lane for you. You know
This
what?
could hurt sales if we just get people to look.
Federal. That was kind of interesting. Oh yeah, the teletype. That's right. That Larry brought. That was fun to see. Meanwhile, communism in
Later,
China
be
is
tight,
on the
man.
rise, forming an open alliance with the Taliban, Russia. That's kind of interesting. They got the teletype information.
Narcy,
Get to see the
read
inner.
that news flash.
It's another one of those actually saying radio in a different color. It looks like, I don't know, it was painted or what. It's an odd color, but
It was painted to match the lampshades on the Philco.
yeah, there you go. Actually, it works well with gray. Oh, these were the contestants. This was the clock radio. There were some nice pieces here. I forget.
That
who
is
brought
pretty
what.
cool.
Ah, we know whose that is.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
I tried to cheat. I thought I could maybe get extra points by bringing a clock television as opposed to a clock radio.
Yeah, I know.
But,
Nobody
One
had.
in every class.
I thought it was cool. I liked it.
Teacher's pet.
You had. That's right. Well, I have a clock radio. We can have a clock predicted TV.
exactly.
The only kid on the block with this one.
A glutton for punishment.
I think it was awesome. It truly thought it was awesome. Yeah, Ken brought these. Ken Silvestri, I'm pretty sure.
Those are nice.
All of they were all made in, I think, 58 clock radios.
Yeah, they were fun. They were fun. Forgot who brought. Was that Howard? I think that was.
Yes, yes.
That was Howard.
That's a bizarre thing.
That's
what that
pretty cool.
is.
Unusual with these.
That is unusual.
That's right. Spartan Select Time Receiver. That was, and the Magic Eye tunings in the chassis instead of in the front. His tuning was done from the rear of the set. Really fun stuff. He brought this one also. This from Ukraine.
That was really bizarre.
He told me he had to bribe a customs official. I think it cost him $27 US to help smuggle that onto a plane.
Yeah, it was crazy stuff. And it's
Bizarre is the word, yes.
Lithuania. Pardon me,
Lithuania. There you go. Oh well, of course.
You know,
twin speakers.
Really cool stuff. I mean, you just don't see this. Nice little Telecron. Oh, Crosby, that's what it was. That's right. That might have been Bob Harris who brought that. But this was fun. This Heathkit, I think. Was it Heathkit?
Prison radio, so you couldn't smuggle in a
Halicraft, that's what it was. That's right, Halicraft, that's what it was. This was fun. Really fun stuff. Oh yeah, we also had the Disney themed radios.
Mm.
I hope those were bolted down to the table.
Yeah, this is the ad that Bruce pulled together on those.
Little did you know it was a really Mickey Mouse chassis to go
Yeah.
with the set. Yes, that stuff is all just, the Disney files would just go bananas on that stuff. Played or it didn't play, they wouldn't care. They got to have it. Look at those colors. I got to have it.
Yeah. Well, folks, I really do actually going to have to.
All right, well, we'll end it here. John, thanks so much. Everybody, thanks for attending.
Yeah, no, it was great
We
having
will
you
see
guys.
you
And
soon.
this was pretty much near the end of it anyway. There's probably maybe some number, a few photos we won't see, but at the end you saw 90%.
Wow.
But, normally I'd stay late, but I have actually.
No worries. He's got to
Oh,
run.
Thank you. That was great.
So we'll
All
look
right,
forward to
guys.
see you guys in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Thank you,
See
John.
you
That
there
was
for
a
a
lot
Take
of
care of
fun.
fire.
yourselves.
Quick
All right,
Take care.
comment?
Good night,
Quick
all.
comment?
Great job.
Good night,
Thanks.
John.
Real quick,
Bye.
you can make a quickie before John's got to go, but you
Remember,
can make a
free vintage RCA TV, complete reasonable condition.
There
It's
you
all
go.
yours, folks.
yes.
Have a good night.
You too, guys.
Brought to you by your sponsor. We'll see you guys.
Thanks.
All right, let's get
Bye
out of
now.
here.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Take care.